Have you ever felt frustrated when your hard work didn't bring the results you expected? In life, we often focus so much on outcomes that we forget the one who truly controls them. Islam teaches us to trust Allah's plan, even when things seem uncertain or delayed. By shifting our focus from results to sincere effort and reliance on Allah, we can find peace, patience, and contentment. Let's explore how trusting His plan can transform our hearts and our lives. When a person becomes obsessed with results, the heart slowly shifts from reliance on Allah to reliance on outcomes. This attachment creates constant pressure, fear of failure, and disappointment, because results are never fully in human control. Instead of feeling calm after sincere effort, the mind remains restless, always questioning what will happen next. Over time, this mindset weakens trust in Allah, because success and failure begin to feel like personal victories or losses rather than parts of divine wisdom. When results are delayed or different from expectations, frustration replaces patience, and hope turns into doubt. True peace returns only when the heart accepts that Allah decides the outcome, and the servant is responsible only for sincere effort and obedience. In Islam, responsibility lies in intention and action, not in controlling what comes after. A believer is commanded to strive with honesty, discipline, and excellence, while accepting that the final outcome belongs solely to Allah. This balance protects the heart from pride when things go well, and from despair when they do not. By focusing on effort, worship becomes purer and actions become consistent, regardless of visible success. Prayer, work, and struggle are performed as acts of obedience rather than transactions for results. This mindset builds spiritual maturity because the believer measures success by faithfulness to Allah's commands, knowing that whatever outcome follows is chosen with perfect knowledge and mercy. Tawakkul brings calm to the heart by freeing it from constant worry about the future. When a believer truly relies on Allah, anxiety about what may or may not happen begins to fade. The heart learns to rest, knowing that every situation is under divine control and nothing occurs without purpose. This reliance creates emotional balance during both ease and hardship. Success does not inflate the ego, and difficulty does not shatter the soul. Tawakkul transforms fear into acceptance and stress into patience. Instead of being overwhelmed by uncertainty, the believer feels supported, confident that Allah is managing every detail with wisdom, care, and compassion far beyond human understanding. The life of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ shows that trials are not signs of failure, but marks of honor and growth. He endured mockery, isolation, and severe hardship while remaining steadfast in his mission. Each difficulty strengthened his resolve and deepened his connection with Allah. These moments teach that patience during struggle shapes character and refines faith. Companions like Abu Bakr Razi, Allah Ta'ala Anhu, stood firm beside him, trusting Allah even when circumstances seemed overwhelming. Their perseverance reminds believers that true success is measured by steadfastness, not ease, and that enduring hardship with faith brings lasting spiritual reward and nearness to Allah. Closed doors often feel painful, but in reality, they can be signs of Allah's care. A path that ends suddenly may have carried harm that only Allah could see. What appears as loss may be a shield, gently turning a believer away from difficulty that would have weakened faith or brought regret. Divine protection does not always arrive in pleasant forms. Sometimes it comes through disappointment, separation, or change. With time, clarity emerges, and the wisdom behind those moments becomes visible. A believer learns that not receiving something is not being ignored, but being guided. Trust grows when the heart accepts that Allah removes certain paths to preserve what truly matters. When a dua seems unanswered, it does not mean it has been rejected. Allah responds in ways that align with perfect timing and wisdom. A request may be delayed until the heart is ready, or until circumstances align in a way that brings greater benefit than originally imagined. At times, a dua is redirected towards something better, even if it looks different from what was asked. In other moments, its reward is saved for the hereafter, where its value is far greater. This understanding nurtures patience and hope, allowing the believer to continue supplicating with trust, certainty, and a deep sense of closeness to Allah. Human expectations are shaped by limited knowledge, emotions, and immediate desires. We judge situations based on what feels good now, often unaware of the long-term impact. This narrow view can cause disappointment when life unfolds differently than planned. Allah's wisdom, however, is complete and unrestricted by time or perspective. He knows the unseen, the future, and the hidden outcomes of every choice. What seems unfavorable today may lead to ease tomorrow, and what appears beneficial may carry unseen harm. Recognizing this difference helps a believer surrender control with humility, replacing frustration with acceptance and strengthening faith in Allah's perfect decision-making. Sincerity grows when actions are done solely for the pleasure of Allah, not for recognition or immediate success. When outcomes are removed from the heart, intentions become clearer and worship becomes more genuine. The believer acts because it is right, not because it guarantees a visible reward. This freedom from attachment allows consistency even when results are unseen. Good deeds continue in private. Effort remains steady, and motivation comes from faith, rather than validation. Over time, this sincerity purifies the soul and strengthens the connection with Allah. A believer learns that the true value of an action lies in intention, and Allah rewards what is done with a sincere heart. Faith grows strongest during uncertainty and hardship because these moments test reliance on Allah and strengthen inner resilience. When circumstances are unclear, the believer learns to seek guidance through prayer, reflection, and patience, rather than relying solely on personal understanding. Challenges push the heart to trust Allah more deeply, to recognize that every difficulty carries purpose, and to embrace patience as a form of worship. Even small acts of obedience become powerful anchors in turbulent times. By leaning on faith instead of fear, the believer transforms trials into opportunities for growth, drawing closer to Allah and finding strength that cannot be shaken by external events. Contentment comes when the heart fully trusts Allah's plan, rather than clinging to personal desires or imagined outcomes. A believer who accepts divine wisdom experiences peace, even when life unfolds differently from expectations. This acceptance does not mean passivity, but a confident reliance that Allah's choices are best. By releasing attachment to results, the heart no longer struggles against reality or constantly compares itself to others. Gratitude increases, anxiety decreases, and actions are performed with sincerity and focus. True contentment is rooted in faith, knowing that Allah's plan encompasses mercy, protection, and wisdom, far beyond human comprehension, bringing lasting satisfaction and inner calm. Remember, true peace comes when we focus on Allah's plan, rather than chasing outcomes. By putting trust in Him, being sincere in our efforts, and practicing patience, our hearts find calm even in uncertainty. May Allah guide us to always rely on Him and bless our actions with goodness and barakah. If this reminder touched your heart, share it with others and subscribe to Graceful Deen for more inspiring Islamic guidance. Comment below your heartfelt prayer, and may Allah accept it.